welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. If you want to support my daily Eternal Magic offerings while getting amazing perks like the BoshNRoll Discord community, have me play your deck on the channel, or listen sideboard guides before tournaments, check out the Patreon or YouTube membership program. This channel is possible because of these amazing sponsors. Check them out, all their links are in the video description. As always, thanks for being here. Let's go play some Magic.
Well, welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm playing Legacy at the request of Patreon subscriber Wombat Ferrari, and this is relatively budget Dimir midrange. This is inspired by a deck that I believe Twitch streamer Be Excellent has been working on for a while. Wombat Ferrari and I also took a pass at it together. The original goal of this deck, to my understanding, is to build a budget option with no reserve list cards. Obviously, we've decided to add one, because we're not doing a budget challenge. We're just trying to make this deck good. At the core of the deck is rock solid mana, just 6 basic lands, a bunch of ways to fetch them, 2 copies of the card Back to Basics. Back to Basics is a card that I love. If you go back 6-7 years, however long it's been that I've been releasing content, you'll find many blue-white Back to Basics decks in my early stuff. I was actively streaming when the card Prismatic Vista was printed for the first time, and that really opened up decks like this. I was already trying to do this with the old style fetch lands, cobbling it together with Arid Mesas and Windswept Heaths in my blue decks. And when Prismatic Vista was released, I tried 0 non-basics, all basics control in Legacy. I'm sure that video is in my archive somewhere. A couple things I learned in that era of my exploration. One of them is that you really want the one duel if you have access to it. Obviously, like, if you don't, it's probably still mostly fine. But there are games where you're going to want to Thoughtseize on 1 and ponder into your land on 2, where obviously just a swamp or an island don't cast both of those cards. That's literally the text on Underground Sea is it's an island and a swamp. Undercity Sewers helps. It's really cool that budget decks have access to this. Actually, one of the biggest ups to Wizards of the Coast in the last few years is this cycle of duels knocked $600 off the price of every Legacy deck, basically, because everybody replaced at least one duel with these. But there are spots where you want the dual land to sequence out your draw correctly. And since we're not actually under budget constraints, we did add that. The other thing I learned from that era of exploration is that Back to Basics doesn't win every matchup. If you're playing against Beanstalk Control or lands, good luck lands, even like Mystic Forge combo with the Urza Sagas and Ancient Tombs, Back to Basics can find a hit. However, this format we're in right now is dominated by a deck that, at least nominally, doesn't play any lands. The top deck in the format can win with only 1 land in play, Entomb, Reanimate, back it up with Daze. Tempo decks at the top of the format can win the game with 1 or 2 lands in play, and Daze is a potent weapon against Back to Basics, because not only are they fighting over your spell, but they're resetting one of their tapped lands, and then they get a whole additional spell out of that. I think Back to Basics is extremely weak in the current metagame versus the top of the metagame. However, if we can just put it in our deck, it pitches to force, we can brainstorm it away. It's never that bad. And we are playing a deck that's trying to play a long game, where if Back to Basics snags even 1 land, like if your Reanimator opponent fetches Island, Swamp, and then eventually has to put an Underground Sea into play, and you'd get that tap down and get into a long game, every turn that 1 land is tapped is worth a mana. And if you're playing 8 turns, and you lock 1 land down on turn 3 for the entire 8-turn game, you've bought back basically 5 mana out of your Back to Basics. Whereas a deck like Mono Blue Delver, a deck I played on this channel recently, and a lot of the comments were like, OMG, where's Back to Basics? It's in a different deck because it doesn't belong in a tempo deck, is the answer to that question. Having a high basic count does not by itself justify Back to Basics. However, the sauce is here. We are trying to play a long game. There are some decks that care about it. It's low cost to ourselves to include. Those are just kind of my theory things that I learned 6 or 7 years ago when I was doing all this. And we apply those theory lessons to just, many of the best cards in Legacy. Orcish Bowmaster, 4 of those. Tamiyo, 3 of those. Baragoi, 3 of those. 4 Thoughtseize, 4 Force of Will, 4 Ponder, 4 Brainstorm. These are just the cards that are good inside of this basic land back to basic shell. Baleful Strix's pretty bad against Orcish Bowmaster specifically, but pretty good anywhere else. This one gets a 4 of because we just love it. It's also a great enabler for Kaito. If you're trying to get into Legacy and don't have the budget for reserve list cards, you could make this Underground Sea into another Undercity Sewers, and it's probably fine. It will matter sometimes. And having 2 Surveillance will be better sometimes. I don't know, that's kind of a balance, but the Underground Sea is better if you have access to it. In general. But yeah, just pile of good cards with rock solid mana. What's not to love? Let's do it. I'm on the draw in round 1. I got Thoughtseize. I love that card. I'm in. Ancient Tomb. Alright, Thoughtseize might be too slow. Lotus Petal. Man, I hope they Blood Moon me. And I don't have the Swamp ready to go. Oh, not off blue mana, you're not. Alright, they're stonking up. So this is probably Painter or Show and Tell. Those are the decks that would have Ancient Tomb, Lotus Petal stock up in them. I guess it could be a build of Dreadnought. The Stompy Dreadnought take on the list. I think they've mostly rotated off of Lotus Petal. They used to have 1 in their deck, just in case. I'm getting the Underground Sea here, and this is, drawing this Tamiyo now makes, this is exactly why you want 1 of these in the deck. I was just going to fetch basic Swamp, but now if I want a Tamiyo Ponder next turn, or Ponder and maybe still play Thoughtseize, and if I miss on pondering into Thoughtseize, I could still play Tamiyo, like, just, you know, when your land's tapped for twice as many colors, you have more options. It's that simple. That's why they're $600. All right, Show and Tell confirmed. Oh, it's Hive Mind Show and Tell. This is a blast. Well, I can't take them off Show and Tell. I can take them off Hive Mind. Tropical Island, so Carpet of Flowers, Veil of Summer cards I have to be aware of. All right, I'm going to take this Hive Mind and just hope that they don't have another payoff ready to go. Pact of Negation's interesting because they can use it to shove through a Show and Tell, but unless that Show and Tell puts in Omniscience or Hive Mind or something that kills me before they untap, then they're going to lose to their own Pact, and it's not actually a counterspell. Okay. Tamiyo, this Brainstorm huge game. This lets me Thoughtseize next turn. It's firing this. This line not possible if I fetch basic Swamp last turn. And the Thoughtseize was here. If I didn't draw Brainstorm, the Ponder would have found Thoughtseize, so all the things that I was setting up. Do we need to keep talking about how dual lands are better than basic lands? Do we understand? All right, plus Tamiyo. I put the lands back and I can fetch and shuffle away the 4th land. I think playing on 3 is a good number. I actually just realized I messed up the sequence because in my head, I was fetching basic Swamp when off my opening hand, and then I decided not to do that, and I used my Polluted Delta to get Underground Sea, and now I can't fetch basic Swamp. So I've actually made a mistake here while narrating why Underground Sea is correct. That's true, but I botched the fetch land on it, because I would like to have double black this turn to Thoughtseize and Bowmaster, which is no longer possible. I have a Thoughtseize in my hand, so I'll use that one. Alright, their hand is still all the same cards, but I could start working through the Show and Tells now. Yep. Would be sick to have a land I could play here. I guess I'll Ponder, since nothing else is going to happen with my mana here. Finding a Force of Will would be nice. Polluted Delta. Alright, if I was going to do that. Alright, I've definitely messed up the sequencing. I should have fetched with Flooded Strand on turn 1, and I should have pondered before I played out Flooded Strand this turn. Both of those are actually going to materially cost important values this game. Right, Tamiyo's going to buy back a Thoughtseize here. Just going to let them know that's coming. And unfortunately with this Flooded Strand, I actually still want double black next turn, so I can't fetch a basic island, cast Ponder here. Well, I can, it's just not. It's a real cost, because I want a Thoughtseize and then start applying pressure with Bowmaster. If they find Hive Mind right now, I'm dead. If they find something like Emrakul or Omniscience, that's really bad. There's the basic island. They could go for a corny Show and Tell juke, because they know I have Thoughtseize in my hand. And if their hand sucks, they might just be incentivized to play Show and Tell here to see if they could get a counterspell out of me. Right, Lotus Petal's on the stack. They're pacting their Lotus Petal. Usually you want Hive Mind in play when this happens. Oh, they're going to sudden sub me! Oh, what a rip. Oh, that's awesome. Okay. Now I have to... Oh no, they were just fucking with me. Okay. Sudden substitution was not on my radar, but that was great for content. Thank you. Sudden substitution changes the controller of two spells, which means they can give me the Pact of Negation, and then I have to pay for it. So my out to that would have been brainstorming for Force Will to counter the Lotus Petal, which would then fizzle the Pact. All right. Or there's no creature in play. Yeah, you need to sub a spell for a creature. Maybe they actually had sudden sub and that wasn't for content, and they just forgot that they needed a creature to exchange for. It's been a while since I played with that card. Okay, Force of Negation, Disruptor, Flute. These cards are important. Brazen Borrower. I just need the Fatal Pushes out of the deck, really. And Brazen Borrower could bounce an Omniscience or something like that, bounce a Hive Mind, while also just being a creature that can jump in for the beats. Consign to Memory could counter a Pact trigger if I'm on the hook for one. That's starting to get fringe, but if I have bad cards that have to come out, Nile Spellbomb is one of them. Murderous Cut. All right, looks like I do actually have a pretty well-mapped sideboard here to get all of these pieces in. Back to Basics is actually fine. If they Lotus Petal Show and Tell on turn 1, this card won't do anything. If we get into turn 4, turn 5, and they have like 2 Drops and an Ancient Tomb, it will destroy them. All right, here we go. Pretty clean sideboard map. Got to tighten up my fetches. I wouldn't have made that mistake 6 years ago when I was in the lab on blue-white. All right, this hand has to play on Basics because of Prismatic Vista, but that's okay. I trust Thoughtseize a lot more than I trust Force of Will, but I'm not going to mulligan the hand. Hey! When you play 4 of a card, it shows up. That's fun. Went with the Tempest basic lands today. I recently purged all of the just garbage basics out of my collection on Magic Online. Just sent them into the Shredder bot. Shredded like 1,200 shitty basic lands. And now I get to look at the nice ones more often. This Veil of Summer is a giant beating. It's worth forcing. Hive Mind, Petal, Summoner's Pact. Alright, this is a mess of a hand. I'm going to take the Hive Mind and hope they don't have actual value Summoner's Pact targets. Yeah, search your library for a green creature card. We're just going to like grab a Tireless Tracker and go to work here. I did elect to pitch the Baleful Strix, which would have been damage on this board. And Bowmaster's damage on the board too. This is pretty wonky. I do want to start dealing damage to them. But now, like, raw mana is a problem. Like, if this was a typical dual land mana base, I would ponder here to shuffle away the Kaito and the Strix and just be happy with the Bowmaster, but look for my next land. But because we can't do that, I'm going to have to make it work with the tools presented. If I play Bowmaster, though, that turns on Sudden Sub, which is not something I really want to do. Yeah, I'm going to ponder here and think really hard if I actually want to cast Sudden Substitution or cast Bowmaster into Sudden Sub. Consign to Memory gives me a lot of game to play. Okay, I'm just going to pass and not play anything here, draw Consign next turn, and then I have a real path to beat a Sudden Substitution line. Then I have to also beat my own Bowmaster with a handful of Brainstorm, Baleful Strix. But at least I don't die immediately. 6 mana, they could just cast Hive Mind. Okay, do I want to Brainstorm? I think I do. Back to Basics, interesting. They cannot Sudden Substitute for Kaito if I set up a sequence where I Bowmaster them. Alright, I think Baleful Strix is going to go. And do I want to live without Brainstorm? Do I want to live without one of these Bowmasters? If they do steal my Bowmaster, mine is the only answer because I boarded out all my removal. Alright, I think I'm going to tuck this Brainstorm away as well. And I'll play Bowmaster in the end step with the intent to play Kaito. But if they do stuff on their turn, I could back to Basics instead. If they suddenly substitute, I'll counter my Pact trigger. Alright, that is Carpet of Flowers, the crazy Final Fantasy version. Falsy Paradise. These look so bad, respectfully, to Final Fantasy fans and Wizards of the Coast. Summoner's Pact. Oh, alright. Well, we're doing something. Okay, we do just have Atraxas in the deck. That is a green creature. Forbidden Orchard. Alright, they are definitely a Sudden Substitution deck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They have exactly enough to cast Atraxa here. I'll counter the trigger, I guess, and then hope to survive somehow. Yeah, I gotta beat a 7/7 now. Kaito can lock it down for a couple turns. Baleful Strix on top of my deck. Ugh, that sucks. Baleful Strix would be one of my best weapons here, but I couldn't make a plan that covers all of it. I guess I could have countered the Carpet trigger. I consigned a memory. They have plenty of mana to pay for their Pact next turn, even if I don't play Wasteland, do I? Nope. All right, yeah. Oh, back to basics. Might actually kill them here. Wait, are they dead? They're dead. They're fucking dead. To back to basics, we did it. Okay. They would have to have days exactly, and only works if I don't draw land, which I did. Winning the game outright with back to basics. We'll take it. Yeah, Carpet doesn't trigger till the main phase. They're on the hook for that Pact in the upkeep. Oh, yeah. I was worried about Baleful Strix, but look at this. Well, that was sweet. On to the next round. The BoshNRoll channel is brought to you by Tales of Adventure. TOAMagic.com has almost 100,000 unique cards in stock. They offer free track shipping on every order, plus next day or 2-day options when you have an event coming up fast. They offer on-site pickup at major Magic events throughout the US, so you're never scrambling before your tournament. Stop by their booth to buy, sell, or trade at upcoming regional championships, Magic Con, Spotlight Series, and more. I love their selection of individually scanned high-end cards that show you exactly what you're buying. And the best part is saving 5% on every order with promo code BOSH. From Ancestral Recall to Zombie Master, get what you need quickly and in one place at TOAMagic.com. Eternal lives here. I'm on the play in round 2 with a full house, but here we are. Prismatic Vista doesn't get the Underground Sea, which would make this hand sing. I'm not going to mulligan it, but back to basics, scoreboard did literally just win the game. We finished playing, but we also have to acknowledge that this deck building comes at serious cost. I'm going to ponder, because if I Thoughtseize on one and they're not a Berserk combo deck of some kind, then I'm just stuck with a bunch of Thoughtseizes in my hand. Okay, they versus bobbled me, saw a ponder. This looks like a Corey Steel Cutter deck. Okay, all right. We get to play. I am not in a hurry to Thoughtseize a Corey Steel Cutter deck, or a Daze deck for that matter. I'm just going to cast a few ponders here. This locks up Basic Swamp. So I can get Basic Swamp and back to basics in the mix here. If I take multiple turns to set it up, I could Thoughtseize their answers, back to basics them, bobble before playing their land drop, which means Corey Steel Cutter doesn't matter. This, I guess, could be some kind of like, is it Wizards Emery style deck? That would be weird though. That's not really like a thing in the metagame. Okay, I think I want to take that first poke with Thoughtseize so I know what's actually going on over there, and then we can start making informed decisions. Brainstorm in response to Thoughtseize, hiding the goods, whatever the goods may be. All right, yeah, it is just a Corey Steel Cutter deck. Okay, I'm going to take Corey Steel Cutter, because that one is the one that kills me out of the cards that I'm looking at. Their hand is just a fat grip of cantrips with one lightning bolt. No counterspell is big, because if this back to basics can catch them slipping, that's a game I can play. I might try to wiggle back and forth here with like a Bowmaster just to flush out lightning bolt on their turn. Like they ponder, I Bowmaster, they bolt, they're tapped out, I untap and back to basics them. And then we'll see in real practical terms what it looks like when you resolve back to basics versus a deck like this one that can win with two lands in play. Okay, so they're passing into me here. They have a draw trigger in my upkeep, but I'm not going to spend Bowmaster on it. I'd really like another black source here. I'm going to go for this Brainstorm. Okay, we got there. Double back to basics. I could just test them twice here. I'm not casting Thoughtseize again this game. And the back to basics is awkward because if it resolves, I don't need to. But if it doesn't resolve, I'd really like the second one. Is that even true? Do I care? All right, back to basics. You're out of here. If their plan is to end step Questing Druid, I'm going to ruin their life here. There were no counters in their hand when I looked at it, but that was 3 cards ago. I know 3 of the 6 they're holding right now. If I get a Force Will out of this, I'm happy with it. If it costs me a Daze, that sucks. They flipped Wasteland Lightning Bolt off Questing Druid. And they just conceded. All right, cool. Well, we caught them on a slow development hand. If they had just tapped out from Murktide last turn, then that back to basics would have done nothing. But instead, it won the game on the spot. That's cool. Right, Edict, Brazen Bee. Engineered Explosives can kill any number of monk tokens. And I have the mana to kill something like Dragon's Rage Channeler. Nile Spellbomb is not garbage. Do I want to try to answer Murktide Regents or stop them from arriving? I don't think I'm playing this Nile Spellbomb. I've got Cuts, Kaitos, Edicts all coming in. I don't need this many Thoughtseizes in this matchup. Hydroblast, very good. Probably want that one in. That's the wrong pile. What's the number of Thoughtseizes I'm comfortable with when I'm on the draw in a burn matchup? Like Thoughtseizing a Quarry Steel Cutter or a Murktide or seeing that the coast is clear for something like Barrogoyf are all useful. Maybe I play one Engineered Explosives, leave one Thoughtseize in. All right, I'm doing this. I could also cut a back to basics because I actually do think it's bad in this matchup, even though it just won me that match or won me that game. I'll keep the cheese button here. I'll stay in spirit of the deck. The old one lander, fun lander. I'll try it. The flip side of your lands not necessarily always casting your spells is that your lands are not going to get wasted. Okay, so I have to get Underground Sea or I have to play mono black. And the flip side of your lands being largely wasteland proof is when a wasteland does get you, it's bad. I think I'm going to cast Thoughtseize and try to roll the dice on basic island. Quarry Steel Cutter, Pyroblast, Brazen Bar, Questing Druid. I want to take Cutter. That's the one that takes the most issue to solve down the road. There's the Volcanic Island, no Delirium. All right, land. I'll take it. It's not the land I wanted, but it's quite good here. I'm going to hope that in the end they just go for Seek the Beast and get cooked. All right, I'm going to let them Surveil because they can't get Delirium here. They kept the card on top. I hope it was Brainstorm. One unknown in hand. Please don't be Daze. God damn it. It's always Daze. All right. I can't pay. Murderous Cut is online here. They flipped Pluto Delta, Force of Will. There's the Delta. Brainstorm. It was Brainstorm. That wasn't the card that was on top of their deck. That was 3 cards down. They didn't see the Brainstorm because we had perfect information briefly there. Well, this Force of Will is not going to do anything. I can click that away. Ponder. And now their hand's completely different. That one Daze changed the entire texture of this game, as it tends to do. If I draw an island, I'm still just fine. But that is, pretty important to do. All right. Push that thing. Pressure's off. Still playing mono black, but it's fine. I can cut the next creature. Pyroblast will find no purchase here. Quarry Steel Cutter. Bobble. Yeah, when your opponent sees 7 cards in a turn, things get dicey. They saw the Ponder with that bauble of theirs. Island. Oh no. Okay. I mean, welcome to this mana base we've constructed. Questing Druid's in. Land. Dragon's Rage Channeler. Will trigger everything. I do have an Engineered Explosive still in the deck. I'm going to take 3 from Monks, and I think I have to Murderous Cut Questing Druid. That one will be the biggest in near time. Very soon. Hey, here's that card I said. Sometimes you rip them. Alright, I'm still dying to Dragon's Rage Channeler, and if this Pyroblast is still in their hand, that'll counter the Hydroblast. Or kill the Baleful Strix. Alright, exploding before I take lethal damage. Okay, so I was drawing to a 15 outer. Like a quarter of my deck is blue sources, and just trying to do the good math here. Like, did I just throw this game in the graveyard by keeping that basic swamp hand? Or is this like kind of running bad? It's turn 7. All right, I'm dead. But yeah, on turn 7, missing on a quarter of my deck in that many draws became a little bit of a run bad eventually. Okay, Engineered Explosives, I think, is probably better than Nile Spellbomb. That's the only change I'm going to make, and we're going back in. Oh, the full opposite situation. Do I rely on Tamiyo to do everything here? I don't think so. Okay, the perfect hand. All right, Kaito to the bottom. Basic Island Tamiyo, basic Swamp Children's Edict, and we're off. The opponent's on 5. That's good. We get to go first, and we have the same number of cards. They've got a land. Are they going to respond, or are they going to play their own creature? All right, they're going to respond. Fair. Bobble, bobble. Yeah, the old mull to 5, and nobody knows what my hand does, including me. Keep. That's what happens when you register 8 baubles in your deck. Okay, a fetch land's really good. Do I want to brainstorm now? I think I'm going to save it. Quarry Steel Cutter. Bauble gets them a monk. And here I am, probably about to actually edict this thing, because it's a problem. I could brainstorm. Yeah, I'm actually going to brainstorm now. If I find Fatal Push, that plays. If I find Bowmaster or something like that, I can ignore this for a minute. They're bobbling me in response to my brainstorm. I think the way this works is they saw the Bowmaster. All right, I'm going to put back Kaito and Edict, I think. Put back Kaito and Edict. Handful of juice. I love juice. They get to draw a card. I'm going to play around Daze. And Petty Theft the Monk. That feels better than edicting it. At least I have something getting paid out on the back end, if you know what I mean. I will play Tamiyo if they want to Daze this. With 3 cards in their hand, I don't mind flushing them out. The fewer cards in their hand, the harder it is to trigger Quarry Steel Cutter. All right, they did have a Daze. Now I know 1/3 of their hand is Volcanic Island. I can beat a Murktide, Ponder, Volcanic Island, Bobble. Now they have to decide if they're going to bobble me. Okay, they bobbled me immediately. That might indicate Lightning Bolts in their hand. I'm still going to roll my dice here. Bowmaster. Put 1 on the Monk. Do we get the other one? Or is it going to be bolted in between? Second one. They could still cast Bolt and save their Monk because of prowess. Sweet. Hydroblast. Pretty nice. I think I'm just going to destroy Quarry Steel Cutter right now. Okay, they had a Pyroblast. Still, it's a spell that they cast on my turn. I'll take it. The cantrips are bad now. I can answer Murktide. I can trade Orc Army for a Monk. Bobble. Risky to use. Petty Theft targeting Orc Army. All right. We're getting petty around here. That does let them attack for 2. And they are bobbling. Okay. Damage comes through. You draw. I trigger. I'm going to go face here. I don't think I can kill the Monk unless they work alongside me here. Prismatic Vista. That gives me Brazen Borrower around Daze. I think I'm going to take the damage because, like, any spell, like, Prowess is just a massive beating there. Brazen Borrower, get in there. Responding with their own Brazen Borrower. And now they could Daze or Pyroblast and also trigger Cutter. Okay, that's good. Unless they use Daze to pick that up right now. But at least if they Daze, I actually can pay. Okay. Alright, that could have been worse. I will pay Engineered Explosives. Alright, Fatal Push is good though. Alright, I'm going to pass. And we're going to dance around here. We have mostly this comparable permanents in play. We both have a Borrower. We both have a 1/1 token. They've got a 2/2 Prowess where I have an Orcish Bowmaster. Fatal Push this idiot. I'm not messing around with that thing longer than I have to. Re-equipping the hard way. Okay, this gets me a Surveil land. I have some value out of that. I could make them sacrifice a token creature, but then my shields are all the way down to Murktide. Okay, I am going to fetch here or Undercity Sewer and see what I'm working with. Oh, sick. All right, well, I'll leave that on top and hope that they can't flurry me out with burn. Going to 6 is one of the critical life point thresholds in any Delver matchup. Engineered Explosives, I'll cast that, see if it resolves before I make combat decisions. And then I'll attack with both of these. Opponent can't stop them. Opponent's just going to go to combat here, even if they have spells. It's not the right time to cast them. Orc Army and Monk die. And we're back to parity for now. Oh, sick. That's real nasty, actually. Attack. No blocks. Kaito, Kablamo, Bowmaster back in my hand. Do I want to draw cards, freeze the Brazen Borrower? I think I want to draw cards. Another Bowmaster and a land. Yeah, I'm just going to go top. This lets me play around days with my Bowmaster, who I am going to cast. And I'm going to... When do I do it? If I do it now, they could Brainstorm in response. But if I wait, then it's their turn, and Brainstorm also triggers Cutter. All right, yeah, I'm going to play Bowmaster now. All right, just resolved. That's awesome. Okay, sick. I feel like I'm ahead for the first time. Can still get double bolted. Red in the pool. Another Cutter. I have 2 chumps, but their creatures have trample. They're dazing their own Cutter. All right, that gets them 1 monk, but yeah, their hand must be bad if this is what we're doing. They picked up a tap land, so they can't even equip this Cutter the old-fashioned way. Kept a card on top of the library. Do they want to trade with Orcish Bowmaster? Yeah, I mean, the problem with Prowess is I don't even know if it's a trade, and they are attacking me. I will double block here. They have to have Lightning Bolt to really punish because Brainstorm kills them. All right. We're back in. The other Bowmaster's here. I think I'd like to keep drawing cards. It's a 2-turn clock, whether I plus Kaito or not. And just having access to more stuff here is pretty good. Delta into the graveyard. Tamiyo on top. Take the blocker. And I could still cast all the spells in my hand. Okay, don't bolt me. Oh, they're just passing? They have nothing? They have nothing at all? All right, they kept a card on top, then didn't do anything. Are they going to double bolt me in my upkeep? And doing it on their turn would have triggered the Cutter, so this doesn't even make sense. Bolting, Brazen Borrower, okay. All right, cool. I'm in good shape. Kaito can get in for 4 here if I want him to. I think it's my job to just stay alive, which means Tamiyo should not attack. All right. Bin the land, draw Baleful Strix. All right, well, Tamiyo's going to flip anyway. Now we know. That helps. Ooh, Barrogoyf. That one's hard to kill me through. Yeah, I mean, it's double bolt or bust, and they just had to use a bolt on something else, so I have significantly blunted their aggression. Giving Murktide haste. Murktide equipped the hard way actually is really good here. But now they would need land plus Murktide out of their hand to do that. That's half the problem. Uh-oh, did I mess up? Did I put my shields down at the last moment? Please spend mana on anything except Murktide Regent. All right, Petty Theft. Bouncing Barrogoyf. They get 2 monks here. I can Fatal Push one of them. And I'd still lose the Lightning Bolt. Brainstorm in response. All right, I'm going to push a monk right now while I know it's going to work. So they win if they have Lightning Bolt, because that tramples over for 3 and does 3 to my face. Oh no, the Tamiyo. I'm at 1 with Lightning Bolt. This has been a really good game. My opponent's being a little salty in the chat about like how many lands they've drawn after mulling to 5, but this has been a really good game, so I'm not going to engage with that. And another Brainstorm. They've already played a land, right? Yeah, they started this turn by playing Polluted Delta, so unless they play Fire Blast or something crazy, they would need 3 baubles from their 1-card hand to get enough trample damage. Or no, it's 4, because I can absorb 1 and the Tamiyo. Wow, what a battle! On to the next round.
This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and everything else you'll see on this channel. There's multiple customizations so you can interact with your deck how you want. Views such as text, grid, or stacks. And groupings like type, subtype, color, color identity, even artist. The site offers light mode, dark mode, and so much more. However you want to see your deck, Moxfield can provide it for you. Follow my Moxfield to keep up with the channel and what I'm playing in paper. I'll see you there.
I'm on the draw in round 3. I will keep this hand. Not super interactive unless they're a graveyard deck. Windswept Teeth, probably not a graveyard deck. Savannah. I played a bunch of Savannah decks recently, and they were nice. Okay, this looks like some kind of Maverick something or other. They just Zenithed for an Arbor. Okay, Thoughtseize is great. Now I can see what's going on over there while filling my graveyard for Murderous Cut and getting myself closer to Orcish Bowmaster killing this land. Oh, sick. Walking Ballistas in this deck. This has got to be some kind of Heliod combo. Search a library for a creature with mana value X or less, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle and harmonize for GGGGX. Cast this card from your graveyard for its harmonized cost. You can tap a creature you control to reduce that cost by an amount of generic mana equal to the power, then exile the spell. So this does cost actual 4 green mana to cast from your graveyard, then you can tap for other stuff. That seems like a lot. I'm not worried about Endurance. This Urza Saga is actually kind of a beating. I think I'm going to take Walking Ballista. I can bomb their graveyard in the future. Right now I'm worried about Urza Saga just running away with it. Saga's in. Oh god. Well, I'm glad I got rid of that Walking Ballista, I think. This is a devoted Druid engine. That's what's happening here. Gets +1 for each counter on it. That means the card Devoted Druid, you put a -1 counter on it to make a mana, put a +1, it gets +1 for that, which washes out the counter. Okay, so they can generate infinite mana basically at their leisure. They can, Rhythm costs green. They're 2 mana away from rhythming for the Druid, and then it costs 3 to equip this thing. I don't know where the crazy pivot points are in their deck. I'm just going to try not to lose to them. Okay, here I could play Strix and Tamiyo. I could play Tamiyo and Brainstorm, then start plussing. I think I'm going to Tamiyo and Brainstorm. Underground Sea, get in here. Tamiyo, Brainstorm. This also turns on Murderous Cut, which is an important card to have access to. Fatal Push, I love. I think Nile Spellbomb can take a break, and Barrogoyf on top. I'm holding up 2 options of removal spells. Okay, I suddenly feel better than I did a second ago. I think I can grind through this Urza Saga pretty well. We'll see what's in the toolbox to tutor for, because Luxior is the reason they're playing Urza Saga, but if they have some sort of robust package, I could still be in trouble to some cool card they get. Retrofitter Foundry. That's mediocre. Player of the Hydra. All right, sweet. I can be pretty bullish here with my removal spells. I'm going to just push this construct. I have another removal spell in hand, and Tamiyo can buy back that Fatal Push. Do I think that they would Endurance me if I minus Tamiyo? Do I care if they do? All fair questions. I'm going to go for this Thoughtseize. They didn't fight me. Thoughtseize you. If I can just stick a gigantic Barrogoyf, I'm pretty happy with that. I'm going to take Nature's Rhythm. Endurance and Visage you are their hand right now. I'm going to take my chances tapping out for the biggest Barrogoyf on Earth right now, and hope they don't top deck some sort of infinite combo. Yeah, they have an artifact creature and an enchantment land. That's so many card types spread over so few creatures, or so few objects. Mortuary. All right, we're still working with perfect info. If they Endurance themselves, Barrogoyf is still instant sorcery land 3/4, so I still beat Construct Token, even if they Endurance themselves here with Barrogoyf. Okay, there's the main phase Endurance, playing around Murktide Regent, which is not a card in my deck, but Murderous Cut is. Samesies. Thoughtseize. Well, Thoughtseizing them won't help. There's just a land over there. Plus Tamiyo. If I attack with Barrogoyf, I would basically trade with their board. I'm going to Strix first and see what can happen here. Another Strix can happen. Do I want to trade with their board with Barrogoyf? I don't think so. Yeah, I'm going to pass for now and hope they don't combo kill me. Without a card in my graveyard, I couldn't even leave up Murderous Cut here. And the Strixes can start being pretty annoying next turn. So they can make infinite mana here, which represents infinite servos. But infinite servos don't beat Tamiyo just on plus mode. This doesn't get trample or anything, does it? No? Alright, well, they can do their infinite thing here. Oh, they can Nature's Rhythm for whatever. Oh, it doesn't have haste. Right, they're just untapping it. They're not making green yet. They have to wait a turn. We're actually fine. I think we both forgot about that. Swift reconfiguration, you can use it immediately, but right now they just untap their creature 4 times without actually making mana. Irrelevant. We were safe the whole time. Now I do need to get a card in the graveyard to Murderous Cut, though. I could just minus Tameo. Oh no, you actually do need a target. You can't just throw it in the bin. Alright. Brainstorm. Let's find a way out of this. It's a lot of Thoughtseizing. Thoughtseize back. Fetch land. Now Murderous Cut's online. I'm going to attack with Barrogoyf and 2 Strixes. Barrogoyf 1 Strix. Barrogoyf 1 Strix. Yeah, chump block makes sense there. I didn't Kaito because I want the removal spell. Undercity Sewer is probably better here. I have enough graveyard to cut anyway. I like Ponder. Plus Tameo. Cut Druid. Okay, yeah, that was a moment of panic that was unnecessary. But I assume this deck also plays Swift Reconfiguration. But when they're in top deck mode, it gets a lot harder to do anything. They can Rhythm for 4 here. Does that kill me? Tameo can buy back Murderous Cut. As long as I don't die right now, I've got options. Okay, they did Rhythm for 4. Is there a 4-drop that kills me? Are they just gonna like hit me with a Questing Beast or something here? Hazel's Brewmaster. Okay, this one, whenever this enters or attacks, exile up to 1 target, card from a graveyard, and create a food token. Foods you control have activated abilities of all creature cards you control. Okay, so Brewmaster does give them infinite mana here. What are they gonna do with it? They could retrofit or Foundry a lot, but the tutor's gone. They do have 1 card left in their hand. Where did that come from? Weren't they top decking? Oh no, because they cast a card out of their graveyard. Yeah, 1 card in their hand. If it's Walking Ballista, I lose. Hazel's Brewmaster, sweet one. Been a minute since that was on my radar in Legacy. Okay, they can make infinite 4/4s here, but not actually because it's Magic Online and they have to click some amount. And I can kill Hazel's Brewmaster if they don't do enough. This is a game that I believe I have lost in paper, but we're not playing in paper, so we'll see what my opponent's commitment to creatures is here. Barrogoyf gaining this much life is pretty significant as well. Servos can never kill me because Tameo is in play. Yeah, it turns out that Nile Spellbomb I shuffled away a long time ago actually does matter. Because they just used a card out of their graveyard to grab a card that cares about their graveyard. I'm just going to let them click for as long as they want to click, and then we'll assess the situation together. Okay, so they have stopped at 2 Constructs and a Servo. I'm going to cast Ponder. Force, Baleful Strix. That Force would have been helpful last turn. It doesn't matter anymore. I guess I will take it, though. I don't shuffle. Bring back Murderous Cut with Tameo. They can make infinite mana and as much as they need to in response here. We'll just see how much clicking Barrogoyf can get me through. Looking at my sideboard while they do their thing. Disruptor Flute, huge. Nile Spellbomb matters a little bit. I don't have a Null Rod. Sheoldred's Edict, pretty big. May or may not matter. Brazen Borrower looks pretty good. Yeah, I got some stuff to get. If my math is correct here, they need 11 attackers, because I'll be at 21 after I block with Barrogoyf. These are 4/4s. You gotta connect with 6 of these, and I have 5 blockers. They seem to have stopped at 7, which is not enough. Oh, Barrogoyf became 5/6. Oh, because Murderous Cut was on the stack, right. That plays. Swift Reconfiguration, not a bad draw. Crew 5 loses all of their card types. That removes a reasonably significant blocker. This is why I kept Force of Will in the Ponder, just in case they top decked a good one. They have drawn a bunch of good cards in a row here, but let's see if Barrogoyf can beat them all. I love this food token with 82 -1 counters on it. The smallest food token in history. Firing up Lair of the Hydra. The Force of Will cost me a life. Okay, block, 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 block. This is 3, 6, 10, 18 coming through. I could keep Bowmaster, but Bowmaster doesn't matter. I will chump block one of the big ones. Okay, Barrogoyf, it's up to you, Vela. the big barrel boy. Drawing a Strix with another Force of Will under it. Pulsing Tamiyo here kind of rips. I don't want the Force of Will. Barrogoyf is worth 9 life on defense, and 5 life if it attacks. I go to 12. Oh, right, Tamiyo, the plus bubble. All right, I'm going to play Strix and leave Barrogoyf on defense for now. They can attack me for 17 here with 2 blockers, and I'm functionally at 12 life. They drew another Lair of the Hydra, so my Baleful Strix not doing the most right now. Okay, I'm going to block a Construct and a Construct. I take 11, I go to 1 here. It's a tight battle. I don't think trading with Lair of the Hydra makes sense because they have 2 of them. And they can't have both active at the same time. Simply not a thing. Another Thoughtseize, just what I wanted. Murderous Cut in my graveyard. I go to 6. If I minus Tamiyo, these are full power. I can kill one of these, block one of these, go to 6. I would probably cut one of these. I think it might be over. They might have got over eventually. Is Murderous Cut worth more or less damage than plussing Tamiyo? Plussing Tamiyo will take 4 damage off the board. Murderous Cut will take 5. Alright, I'll buy Murderous Cut. They're probably going to win this turn, though. Or we're duking it out. That's what we're here for. If I was going to concede, I would have done it 2 turns ago. Oh, boo. Well, I guess I'll force this and then die anyway. 1 mana short of doing both here. But I definitely need that card. I was going to lose with the Murderous Cut up anyway. And we're only playing this game because we're playing Magic Online and not paper. To the sideboard we go. Sweet deck. That was very hard to contain. I failed to contain it. Imagine that. Right, Spellbomb's a maybe. Flute's a definite. Edict's a definite. Brazen Borrow's a definite. Back to basics. I think having one of those around is useful because they do have a bunch of non-basics. But it also doesn't help me if I'm behind or if they've made infinite mana. I don't think I want the second Spellbomb, actually. I have 1 in the deck. And they do have some stuff that cares about the graveyard, but that's not the core engine. I do like Thoughtseize, even though I did flat out on them in the mid-game that time. Maybe I need Thoughtseize less if I have all this other stuff I can do. Tamiyo's pretty cool. Bowmaster seems really bad, actually. It kills Dryad Arbor, but otherwise doesn't do anything. Kills Dryad Arbor and jump blocks. Engineered Explosive, sparking one of those in play. 1 and 2 both seem like important numbers to have access to. Yeah, I think I'm going 0 Bowmaster. And in all of this stuff, I still like Force of Will. Alright, I'm in. I'm going to try it like this. Cutting Thoughtseize versus a combo deck might seem weird, but they're a combo deck that can function with access to weird cards. I'm going to keep. I never bet against a turn 1 Tamiyo. They might just Goldfish me on turn 3 if I don't draw any sort of interaction, but my deck has a lot of interaction in it. Here's the Zenith. Priced into doing it, even against my Bowmaster deck, but safe bet. I don't have that card. Sick. Alright, well, I do have that card. Please sacrifice a non-token creature. I'm just trying to do anything to slow them down here. My deck's full of good cards. I just have to still be alive when I draw them. And they can go off from the resources they were showing. I don't think they can go off from 2 mana. They can go off from 3. The Druid into Swift reconfiguration is a combo by itself. Druid is in. Alright, deck, this would be a great time for a Fatal Push. Not this time. Not today, Satan. Attack with Tamiyo. And I'll play a Baleful Strix. Trying to draw a card here. Big hits. Lots of outs. That's not one of them. Undercity Sewer. Wander will help next turn. Okay, I mean, Coast is clear if they decide to send it. If they have it and decide to send it. So they need an infinite mana enabler and something to do with infinite mana. Nile Spellbomb, you got me. Sweet, got a whole turn. Okay, attack with Tamiyo, leave Strix back. Because Devoted Druid is just a regular mana dork. All other text being equal. They can make a construct here. They can tutor, what's that thing called? Luxior? Is that it? They can tutor Weasel Sword, Debag Weasel Sword. I think that's what it's called. Okay. Fatal Push to my hand Don't shuffle. There's a Murderous Cut on top of my deck. I could draw a card now and flip Tamiyo. I think I want to. I can't hold up 2 removal Spiritless here anyway, but I can get my Planeswalker going. Loose. And I'll pass. Okay, so they did tap out here. This is my window. Get Underground Sea, Murderous Cut, Devoted Druid. They could Veil of Summer here, but there's nothing I can do to play around that. All right, they got me. At least I played around Swift Reconfiguration. And now the coast is clear. They can tutor the infinite mana button, or they can tutor an infinite mana outlet. I don't think they had the button, but the outlet is a lot easier to come by. They can have some confidence that I would have forced a willed if I had it last turn. They're making a construct. That's interesting. That means they won't have 3 mana to equip the sword. If they have just Swift Reconfiguration from hand, that doesn't matter. Yeah, there's Luxior. Equip costs 3. Do they have a Gaia's Cradle? How are we getting here? Well, this makes me feel like they don't have a payoff either. Because why would you make a construct if you can go infinite? I trade with a construct. That was pressuring Tamiyo. Spellbomb, no card draw. I think they're supposed to wait until I minus Tamiyo, because now I don't even have to bluff that. That's a thing I might do. Okay, Fatal Push your Devoted Druid. And now, because they bombed proactively, if they do have another Veil, I don't care. All right, yeah, I'm going to buy back Fatal Push here. And then Vista, fetch for an island, or do I? I could have Fatal Push on something big. Yeah, Hazel's Brewmaster matters, so I have access to Swamp. There's none in exile. All right, Barrogoyf. I have access to a fully active Fatal Push here. Their Saga goes to 3, is not able to make a construct. I'm going to fetch a Swamp just so I don't get, I don't know, Pithing Needled here. I will be Revolted for the whole turn. Veiled Defiant, fascinating. So they already have the Retrofitter in their hand. All right, I'm going to push this Devoted Druid right now when there's basically nothing that can be done about it. At least that's how I'm choosing to read that. Plus Tamiyo, attack with Barrogoyf. It's goifing around. Massive crush of damage. Missed on creatures entirely. Graveyard full of goodies for Tamiyo to buy back, though. I think I want to crack a clue before I do anything else. If I draw some kind of interaction, I'm more interested in that. Baleful Strix is another look at interaction. Ponder is a lot of looks at interaction. A Force, a Fatal Push, any of these things are good. This is not really what I wanted. I think I'll bank the Brainstorm and then just play my land for turn. Engineered Explosives is on top if they don't present a combo to kill this turn, and I can still YOLO swing for Force of Will, and they just don't have it. And that's why I'm comfortable keeping hands that don't have interaction right away. Like, I kept 7 that game that just saw more cards and applied some pressure, and by the time they had something I needed to interact with, I had the interaction. There was one turn where the shields were down, but I had tested them already. And your opponent's sideboards too, if they know I'm a deck full of black removal and edicts and Thoughtseizes, they might be trying to play more fair. They might not even be that dedicated to the combo. They saw Nile Spellbomb game 1 as well. They know I can attack the graveyard. I could turn back to basics into Thoughtseize on the draw. I think I like that. Just a little bit more ways to massively impact the game and make a plan when I'm behind on mana. Oh god. All right, no mana at all. 19 lands is pretty respectable for this deck. I will mulligan this otherwise gorgeous hand. Okay, I'll keep this and put a Brainstorm away. And this is why we need 1 Underground Sea in the deck. This hand would be terrible otherwise. Birds of Paradise. Okie dokie. Island. Now I got all sorts of options. I think I'm just going to Flooded Strand pass. I don't want to necessarily go after the bird when I know that they have a combo kill on their deck that involves a 2-drop creature. Zenith for 2. Alright, you're in there. Devoted Druid. They are tapped out of Veil of Summer right now. Underground Sea, Fatal Push. Just clear this thing. I think I'm going to go Tamiyo Spellbomb. Spellbomb stops Hazel's Brewmaster from killing me. Tamiyo moves the game forward. If their 5-card hand is Devoted Druid plus Swift reconfiguration plus infinite mana sink. Good job. Bright Glass Gearhulk. Yes, yes, one of my favorites. All right, now I'm rooting for my opponent. This rules. This can grab a bunch of Swift reconfigurations. If they have Carpet of Flowers, you can get that. Nile Spellbomb, the Sword, the Retrofitter. What a perfect card for this deck. Hell yeah, opponent. Kudos. Urza's Saga is also an enchantment that costs less than 1. Insane. Big fan. Good job. Hell yeah. Etc. Right, Tamiyo attack. Rainstorm. This Bright Glass Gearhulk has First Strike. Really good against an honest little Baleful Strix like mine. I'm going to put back Island and Brainstorm here, because I have to play a blocker this turn, or else I just lose Tamiyo. I get to keep Force Blue card, and if I don't have a shuffle lined up, I'd rather have Ponder than Brainstorm. All right, we're in there. Saga. Tear Asunder, exiling my Strix. That's naughty. Okay. I'm not going to use my Force of Will on that when I'm playing against a combo deck. If they want to spend multiple turns attacking Tamiyo with Bright Glass Gearhulk, I accept. Tamiyo goes down to 1. Thoughtseize. That card's not very good versus Veil of Summer. It's pretty good versus anything else. They're showing Endurance mana. Not a big fan of that. All right, I will Thoughtseize first. See what we're working with. Did have the Hazels, Swift Recon, another Saga, Plow. It's a lot of good cards. I think I want to take the reconfiguration. I don't care about Brewmaster as long as I have Spellbomb. I don't care about Plow if I don't have any creatures. All right, reconfigurations in the graveyard. Swamp for turn. Crack a Clue. Disruptor Flute. Interesting. That'll be really good against Urza's Saga at some point in my life. Do I want to Ponder or hold up Force of Will? I think I'm just going to pass. I might bust the Spellbomb this turn to draw a card. If it clears a Devoted Druid out of the graveyard, then it did its job for Brewmaster. Gearhulk kills Tamiyo. She's dead, so absorbed a lot of damage on the way through, though. Good job, Tamiyo. Luxior. Okay. End step, Spellbomb, draw a card. Baleful Strix. Man, First Strike on Bright Glass Gearhulk is busted. Okay, Strix. I know they have Swords to Plowshares for this, if that becomes their win con, which it might. Disruptor Flute. If they don't Saga in response because they think I'm going to name Luxior, that's great for me. Plow in response. All right, I think I have to be okay with that. And they found the line to activate their Saga. Right, I'm still going to name Urza's Saga with this. Urza's Saga. This is 4/5 damage. Exile up to 1 target card in a graveyard and create a food. So that's more damage. They get a food anyway. Island, Ponder. Keep cards coming. I'm just looking for removal at this point. I like Baleful Strix. I don't like Force of Will. Or I could do it the other way. If I put Force of Will in my hand, because I probably will force Hazels this turn. There's also a Lair of the Hydra there. Yeah, get me with the beatdown strat is working. But if they get a Retrofit or Foundry, that's a ready-made pile of stuff for Construct. Do I care about Nile Spellbomb? Not really. I am going to counter Hazel's Brewmaster. It's worth a lot of power and toughness on the board. Oh, I'm way more worried about that. All right, Force of Will, this Green Sun Zenith. I don't even know what that was going to get, but I don't want to find out. Take half my life total here. Okay, I like the Strix. I'm drawing a land. They're just bombing me in response to Strix. They do not want to get Murktided. We do get the value of looking like a Murktide deck, even though we're not. It's pretty cool. Okay, fetch first means I don't have to look at that Force of Will that I don't want on top of my deck. Fetch second means I might not be able to shuffle away if all the cards I look at are bad. I'm going to Brainstorm now. Big Barrow. That's the best card I could draw. Okay, Prismatic Vista, Engineered Explosives go back. Fetch, Island, 5/6 Barrowgoyf. Okay, pass the turn. I'm now ahead. Their hand is Hazel's Brewmaster. They have 20 seconds on their clock, which at this point I'd feel bad winning by, but not so bad that I'd concede. Okay, they boarded out Retrofitter. That makes sense from what happened last game and what we've observed now. Brewmaster doesn't matter. It makes a food, but it doesn't get bigger than Barrowgoyf, which is the only card that matters right now. And we did it. I think I'm ahead this game. It's at least at parity and I'm starting to drag it back, but they did also run out of time. Some decks just don't work the same on Magic Online as they would in paper, and vice versa. And we remain undefeated. On to the next round. The BoshNRoll channel is proudly partnered with the Resleevables. In this YouTube series, hosts Patrick Sullivan and Patrick Chapin go set by set through Magic's past, leveraging their decades of experience as Pro Tour players and game designers to analyze the good, the bad, and the ugly of Magic's history. Each episode is a deep dive into the facts, mechanics, cycles, trivia, decks of the time, and historical context of the set. The hosts dig into notable cards of the era and their lasting impact today. Each set gets an award show where the hosts pick their favorite cards for categories such as Best, Worst, and Weirdest. And finally, give a letter grade for the set's overall success. Whether you want a history lesson or a nostalgia hit, The Resleevables has it at youtube.com/theresleevables. I'm on the play in round 4. I'm going to keep my hand. I do love the quality of spells in this deck. You just get to rip them off. Thoughtseize, Tamiyo, Brainstorm. What card in this hand's embarrassing, other than Verdant Catacombs? And this is yet another hand where that one Underground Sea we're playing ties the room together. I don't mind getting Wastelanded here, because they'd be doing it on the draw and after I've already checked their hand. But if I could set up a Tamiyo Brainstorm, that's pretty dope. Oh, baby. Okay, well, I'm taking the One Ring out of this hand. They've got a bunch of mana and a bunch of shit. If they find a payoff, we're in trouble. Let's see what happens here. It's also cool how my opening sequences can look like Reanimator. Ancient Tomb. Pithing Needle. Name Wasteland, name Wasteland, name Wasteland. Scoreboard. And Manifold Key is in. Back to Basics actually pretty good here. This deck doesn't play any basic lands of any kind, anywhere. However, they can make a lot of mana without lands. I'll probably be brainstorming away this Murderous Cut. Safe bet. Right, Vista, get an island. Guess it's probably technically better to do that off Flooded Strand. Not as bad as the blunder from round 1, but probably slightly technically better. Brainstorm. Force blue card. Show them to me. Oh yeah. Magic's easy. Fatal Push, Murderous Cut, go back. Holding one Murderous Cut in my hand for a Glaring Fleshraker if it shows up is nice. Not having to worry about turning on Revolt. Like going for cut over push is nice. There's Tower. They're showing 3 mana, which does not cast the cards I care about in their deck. Lotus Petal. Now 4. This is the number I care about. Wow, what a ridiculous top deck. Yeah, the 2 unknown cards in their hand were a clutch 4-drop and the mystery 4th mana to play it. Not bad. I could buy back Brainstorm with Tamiyo right now to keep Velocity running. I think that's worth doing. Just like racing to the top with Tamiyo versus a deck that can kill you at any point seems like a mistake. Fatal Push, Flooded Strand, go back. And I'm not going to Thoughtseize them because I know their hand. I'll just pass. Another Tamiyo is like the card I could have cast there if I brainstormed into it. The creature mode Tamiyo and then get the slow drip going. I think I'd rather brainstorm next turn with more mana and more stuff available. Manifold Key, 1 card in hand. Please don't be a lethal 4-drop. Looks like we dodged. I am going to willy-nilly fetch my non-basics. Fatal Push. That's the card I just got rid of. Stop it. Be serious, deck. Alright, I'll take that card. Blue-black, Strix, Vista, Brainstorm. Hell yeah. Okay, put back Polluted Delta and one of the Ponders. Fetch for basic island, Ponder. Force of Will in the hand, awesome. Barrowglyph to follow it up. Okay, Force of Will in the hand. Don't shuffle. Plus, I actually think if they force check me this turn, I will pass, and then I jam Barrowglyph. If they don't force check me, I can play Barrowglyph with Force Protection. All right, they're tapping 4 mana. Probably bad news. Played Ancient Tomb first. 1 unknown in the hand. Decided to play around Daze. The One Ring. Well, I guess I won't get to send them back to basics this game, but I will jam a Barrogoyf on this stable board and hope that they don't rip a payoff again. I thought seized them on 1 and their hand didn't do anything, and they've done something every turn in this game. Just chill for like a second, opponent. That's what I want from you. It's like 1 second of chill. Okay, right now, moment of truth. Don't rip a banger. Their deck is like 80% mana. Just draw some source of mana. God. All right, that's fine. Deal, 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 deal. That's what I wanted. Okay, now we're actually bashing. Do I want to Strix pre-combat? No, I'm gonna attack and probably buy back Force of Will with Tamiyo and leave Strix as my blue card. Milled a bunch of stuff that was not a creature, put Force of Will in my hand, pass. Opponent's at 8. They don't really need these Ancient Tombs for mana anymore now that they have Monolith and multiple keys. Planar Nexus. They know I have Force. They don't know I have blue card. Thoughtseize when they're Hellbent. You love to see it. Attack. Yes, mill. Got back a Tamiyo. Sweet. That means I can play the Strix without giving up a blue card, island, and now they know I have Force blue card because they've seen the Force and the Tamiyo enter my hand. Tap your Ancient Tombs, go out like a boss. Oh god, Ugin would actually kind of play here. It would exile Barrogoyf, get countered, and then they would play on. They're making a bunch of mana. Oh, that's not Ugin, not for that much mana. Do they have an Emrakul? That would be messed up, actually. Why would they have an Emrakul? That doesn't even make sense. This looks like Kozilek's command to me. Okay. Put it away. Let's go to the next game. Okay, I was really scared when I thought seize them, but we were able to just fend it off as that game went on. Disruptor Flute, Consigned to Memory, Force of Negation, coming in. Engineered Explosives and Brazen Borrowers are maybes. Explosives, if I can catch all their keys, would be pretty sweet. It will depend on what I'm boarding out. Nile Spellbomb comes out. Murderous Cut comes out. Or do I value Cut or push more? Worrying about Revolt could actually be difficult. I think I'm going to leave 1 Cut in. This is the 6 definitely gotta goes for the 6 definitely gotta comes ins. Are there things that I could additionally be happy to live without if it gets me Engineered Explosives or Brazen Borrower? Bowmaster lines up okay versus the One Ring. Like, it does apply extra pressure to them, and my deck doesn't have a lot of pressure in it. Kaito's a really important blue card for the now 6 forces in the deck. Bowmaster does apply pressure if they have an aggressive Ancient Tomb start. I don't know if I talked myself into any of these. Null Rod is a reserved list card, which is why it's not in here, but it could be. We're playing an Underground Sea. We're not beholden to the original challenge. I think having 4 Thoughtseizes, 6 forces, and 2 consigns is pretty heavy here. I really hate forcing Glaring Fleshraker, though. Can I get a Murderous Cut back in? No. All right. I'm just going to go like this. I'm going to rely on these 4 Thoughtseizes to do everything. I'm going to keep this Force blue card hand. Force blue card, Ponder to keep looking. I don't like that I don't have 2 colors of mana. Can't even fetch the Underground Sea because this is Vista. But this does get me through turn 1, and then we can have additional conversations after that. Okay, they're on a slow start. I'm all to 6 with just a land. The second Barrogoyf is definitely what I was looking for. Island, gotta shuffle all this. No lands. Another Ponder. We get to spin again. The best card in the history of Magic. Keeps us alive. Versus Saga's dangerous. All right, Ponder. I need you here, buddy. Okay. Ponder delivered. I will put Flooded Strand into play and probably just pass without fetching. Hopefully through the whole turn cycle. The Disruptor Flute's pretty bad for me. It forces me to fetch right now, and they can just name Flooded Strand. Okay. They're just drawing a card. Just scry 0, draw a card. That's a deal. Weird hand if that's what they got. Grim Monolith resolves. And I am going to draw land number 3. I think it's reasonable here to just ram Barrogoyf. Black. Underground Sea. Gotta win this game somehow, and turtling up behind a hand with only 1 counterspell in it is not the way. They can't tutor Vexing Bauble. We fixed that problem. via the ban list. Thanks for the Kindred instant, by the way. Barragoyf eating good. In Defense Grid, Disruptor Flute, these cards are really bad for me here. Ugin's not great for me either. Yeah, here's a big pile of mana. Ugin it is. So Barragoyf gets exiled. I have to force Ugin because it will kill me. Luckily, I got more where that came from. Ooh, Disruptor Flute. That's really good here. Do I want to Brainstorm? Yeah, Thoughtseize is good for me too. Lands, Thoughtseize, all good hits. Consign to Memory, love it. If these Bowmasters are going away, Disruptor Flute is going to name Manifold Key. They missed their land drop last turn. If they can't untap this Monolith, they might just drown. Stoked to see Consign to Memory, obviously. Oh, passing with no play. Hook it to my veins. I'll get the Surveil land here. Ponder. I'll want that eventually. Big Barragoyf. Leave up Consign. It's hard to Ugin from this position. I love Ugin in this deck, though. This is just like a big thing that the deck can do that is adjacent to the combo. Like, it works with the combo, but you also don't need to be comboing to be happy with it. Strix and another Goyf. I'll take the other Goyf. That kills them faster, which is my goal at this point. They're clearly foundering. I have a good answer in my hand. 8-9 Barragoyf. We're almost at the limit. Yeah, there's a Planeswalker now. There's 9 card types, right? Grim Monolith, you got it. Oh, Battle is what's missing. We're not going to get a Battle. We have all the ones that we can get. They are making an emergency chump blocker. I don't think they will be able to respond or do anything if I counter this. This deck is not known for nuance or tricks. Cool. Yeah, that was a kicking. They had a kind of mana dubious hand that I was able to punish with the Disruptor Flute specifically. Barragoyf so big. Almost the biggest size you can ever see in the wild. On to the final round. Trophy match coming. We're a few rounds into the video. If you're still here and having fun, remember to hit that subscribe button. And if you want to play what I'm playing, use code BOSH for 5% off your order at toamagic.com. Eternal lives here. I'm on the draw in the final round. I'm going to keep this hand full of great looking spells. Trophy on the line here. Oh, it's Oops All spells. Well, I hope they can't beat a Force of Will. I can pass a Force check here. Undercity Informer. Force pitching back to basics. That's not going to help much here. Do they have the Reanimate also? I'm worried about a protection or a double send here. They didn't have protection. Can they send again? We're not out of the woods. Okay, they just passed with that mana floating. Love it, love it, love it. Thoughtseize, Thoughtseize. Okay, I think I should Ponder. That is better velocity, better selection than a Surveil is. Brainstorm, Kaito. These cards are not helpful, though. No, that's not true. Brainstorm actually does rule because this Fatal Push will not find a target in this matchup, and I'd rather fetch the Undercity Sewers than play it from hand. Or just ignore that it's in my deck at all. Alright, please don't resend immediately. Okay, they've passed. Brainstorm. Finding the Nile Spell Bomb would be nice. Barragoyf, whatever. Alright, Undercity Sewer, Fatal Push, get out of here. I'm going to fetch the Underground Sea and Ponder. Ponder. Baleful Strix, Bowmaster. Don't need those. Shuffle. Druid Island. Alright, we're by the skin of our ass here. We just need to hope that they don't go off. They saw me shuffle the Ponder. They know I'm weak. But it's not like they could do anything if I wasn't. All this deck does is cast the spells it casts. Like Ball Therapy. I don't think there's any chance they blind name Barragoyf for Kaito Bane of Nightmares here. I'd be so impressed, honestly. Force of Will. That's a good bet. A safe bet. Am I dead? Do you have the Reanimate? Alright, now a spell bomb off the top. Murderous Cut. More like Murderous Sucks, am I right? I am going to fetch here. It's not often I fetch for thinning. I mostly think that's fake. But in a matchup this tight, where every draw matters, it's not fake today. And they've had enough. That's interesting. Like, they can take so many hits from Barragoyf before it matters. Alright. I think that's an early concession, but I'll take it. Anything that gets me out of a Magic against Oops All spells, I'm into. Alright, Consign, Nile Spellbomb, Force of Negation, Disruptor Flute, all coming in. Fatal Push coming out. Murderous Cut coming out. Back to Basics. Is a blue card. Back to Basics might be better than Orcish Bowmaster, actually, just because it supports my 6 forces. Brazen Bar is also a blue card. I think that's probably better than Orcish Bowmaster. They're literally blue, and they can do anything. I don't like Hydroblast because it's blue but doesn't do anything. I think that is worse than Bowmaster, but a blue card that does maybe anything, I'll take. All right, this is the plan. We get 2 games to not get cheesed. Taking game 1 always feels good. Uh-oh. I snapped this off on the play. Can I trust it on the draw? I'm going to mulligan. All right, we're in. Keep, bottom, Undercity Sewer. If they had a slow hand that took its time developing, the Nile Spellbomb on the draw might be okay, but the slow hands usually Thoughtseize you, so I can't rely on that anyway. Dark Ritual. 2 cards left in this grip. Force pitching back to basics. Look familiar. Back to negation. Okay, now I lose. Man. Fun Magic. Good stuff. I'm just going to look at their list and their sideboard plan, and then I'll concede. Okay. 2 Narcomoebas. I don't see any Charbelchers in here. 1 Bridge from Below. Pretty normal. The packs. That means they can't juke onto creatures. It looks like they didn't sideboard at all, actually. Okay. Fair enough. Is there a Thassa's Oracle? There is. There is a Dread Return. There's some number of Poxwalkers. All right, they know how to do this. I'll concede. Just give them 1 chance to mess up. All right, we're on the play. Same shit, different toilet. I'm on the play now where my Nile Spellbombs are much better. Thoughtseize much better as well. Submit my deck. Let's go. Consigned to Memory can't really be trusted. Ponder's good. Back to Basics bad. Undercity Sewer is just stuck in my opener. I think with 4 Thoughtseize and 2 Nile Spellbomb, I should mulligan this. Both Spellbombs, no land to cast them. We're going to 5. All right. I'm happy now. I can stop freaking out. This is pretty good. Swamp to the bottom, and I might try to play this game on 1 land. That might be... All these spells are really good. All right. Bottom. Done. Fetch Underground Sea. Play Nile Spellbomb. Hope they can't win. They didn't juke onto Belcher for game 2. The Fellmire. Petal. Thoughtseize. Yep. Have a dig. Look at it. If they want to play a short game, they'll take Force of Will here. If they want to take a long game, they'll take Brainstorm. I'm not sure what the conditions would have to be for them to take Consign, but they're under no pressure, and they see that I don't even have a second land to continue developing. Maybe they take Consign and just dare me to cast Brainstorm, which might turn off Force of Will in the long run. Yeah, they took Brainstorm, settling in for the long game. These are the types of games where they might just cast a Poxwalkers and attack me for 20 with it. Drawing a second Force actually sucks for some reasons, one of which is Cabal Therapy naming Force of Will is a common interactive play, and now I just randomly have 2 in my hand. Though if they're very smart, they might Cabal Therapy naming Consign to try to take me off a blue card and a 1-for-1 interactive spell. All right, Pluto Delta. This gets me my Undercity Sewer, which could turn on other things that my deck might do. Working our way back in. I can also kick a Consign now to push through Pact. Thoughtseize, good card. Taking the Consign makes sense, just teeing up the Cabal Therapy. They're also pretty good with Pact now. I don't want a 3rd Force. Sick. All right. My next land is a big one. If I can actually start pressuring them, this game becomes positive. Right now, they are way ahead because I'm just not doing anything. And any turn they can sneak through is a turn they win. Once this Barrowglaive comes down, though, I become ahead. And they have just a couple turns to beat Force plus Spellbomb. I will not be busting my Spellbomb just to try to hit my land. That's reckless and foolish. All right. Basic Island, slam Barrowglaive. You know the score, opponent. You know what you got to beat. You know what's coming for you. Go. 7 cards in hand, though. Lotus Petal. Lion's Eye Diamond. Oh, yeah, well, looks like we're dead. If they have a Pact, which they probably do because they set this up. Yep. All right. Imagine thinking you could beat Oops All Spells. Ever. It's not possible. No one's ever done it. And I doubt they accidentally sideboarded in a land. Yep. 49 cards revealed. Okay. 4-1 record. Only losing to someone with deep format knowledge. As far as the deck itself, the spells are all good, which is something I repeated throughout the league. Just Basically just pretty happy to look at any average 7 in this deck. Just 2 lands and some dope shit I like to do. The back to basics themselves, this is kind of the reason for the season. It's the reason we're talking about this. This card was good once. I elicited a concession immediately against a player who I just happened to catch with their shields down. And then I boarded it out in the very same matchup because I don't think it is fundamentally good, but you can always imagine a spot. And when I'm thinking about a card like Back to Basics, you can always imagine, like, what if Delver taps out on turn 3 and then you Fatal Push their creature and then play Back to Basics? You got him. But what if Delver has Dragon's Rage Channeler and Corey Steelcutter in play already and then passes the turn to you with 3 untapped lands? Do you even cast this card? What if you pair into Oops All Spells, a deck that at least nominally doesn't have lands, and it's not really about 3 mana sorcery speed effects that control the game moving forward? I don't think this card is well positioned, but we did just go 4-1 with a close battle against a Oops All Spells opponent who had double Thoughtseize, Pact of Negation plus Belcher Juke to beat me on a multi 5, no less. We did also get lucky a few times. There were some spots where, like, the shields were down versus that Devoted Druid player and they just didn't have it. There were some spots where I needed a rip and I got it, like had to find Fatal Push this turn and it showed up. Luck and variance will flow your way either way, no matter what deck you're playing. But this solid mid-range strategy did show up here, and you can adjust some of these slots. Like, I honestly think Back to Basics should just be in the sideboard. There are matchups where it's good, but if we were just playing like 2 Brazen Borrowers here instead, I think that covers a wider spread of the metagame. If your metagame is full of hyper-fast combo and Orcish Bowmasters, you could turn Baleful Strix into some other card. Just make sure to keep your blue count respectful for Force of Will. Baragorglyph, just a unit. Love this thing. You can play 4 of those if your metagame is more fair. If you got a bunch of Ancient Tomb gamers in there, wouldn't be hard to get another Nile Spellbomb in the main either. There's just a lot of customization you can do in this basic, ultimately super fair Magic shell. Wombat Ferrari, thank you for sharing this with us. I hope this league was helpful for your development of the deck. Be excellent. Thanks for the original starting idea that Wombat Ferrari brought to me. Everybody, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Check out the Patreon to support the channel. I'll see you next time.